Good morning, everyone. Hello, nice to be here again. Sorry I missed last week and I was away for a little bit and I did not quite manage to get myself organized enough to have a post scheduled for you. So sorry, I kind of missed a few days there, but I am back and we are live this morning and I'm just scrolling over to my Facebook page to make sure it is in fact playing. And it looks like we are over there. Turn the volume off there so we don't get feedback. All right, hello again. Just gonna move that over there because today that's what we're gonna be working on is the June 2021 paper pumpkin kit called Expressions in Color. So you may have noticed that in here, I'll come back to that in a sec. There was this little flyer that talks about expressions in ink that coordinates with this month's paper pumpkin kit. And I've got my catalog right here. So if you've got a Stampin' Up! Current annual catalog, the expressions in ink suite is on pages 96 and 97. And so this shows you some of the samples they've made with this suite. And then on this page, let me get the glare off. There's some cutouts there, and then there's this really pretty ephemera pack here that's got some gold stickers and some little sequins, and there's sequins just like this in this month's paper pumpkin kit. And then these are an assortment of little gold pieces that you can attach to your projects. And then this is the artistically inked stamp set, and it coordinates with a set of dies as well. Actually, I might have more detail on the dies. Let's see, page 158. Let me just flip there and see if it has a better picture. 1 second while I try to turn the page. It doesn't really show it much bigger. So anyway, there's a set of dies that coordinate. So that's the expressions in ink suite that's in the catalog. So if you really like this month's kit, you might want to have a look at that because it coordinates nicely. Not necessary to have that though. You can make this kit with everything that's in here. That's just if you want to extend, you can look at that expressions in ink in the catalog. Good morning, Shanna. Hello. How was your Baileys and tea this morning? All right, so let's open the box here. Let's set it aside. And so this is our instruction sheet that we'll be coming back to in a minute. So on the back here, there's a picture of everything that should be in your kit. So if you haven't already, have a look and make sure you've got everything. There is also some alternate projects here. So I'm just going to make the cards as they're shown in the instructions. But if you feel like doing something different with your own kit, then you go ahead. They've made some suggestions here, but you can just go ahead and let your creativity run wild. Isn't it this is such a pretty kit, and the expressions in ink suite. I don't have the whole suite yet. I do have the what do you call it, the ephemera pack. It's so pretty. Delish. Good. I actually meant how was your class, but I'm glad the Baileys and tea was also good. Okay, and so in our instructions, here it shows you the supplies you need for each card, and then here it shows you step-by-step instructions for each card, and we'll come back to that as we make the cards. You should have your stamp set, and this kit we got 2 Stampin' Spots. Normally you just get 1, but this one we got 2, which is kind of fun. I really like both these colors, so that's good. Hi, Norma. Yes, isn't it such a great kit? I really like this one. I'm so glad I got it. Okay, you should have some glue dots and some dimensionals in your kit. Some of this evergreen thread. And sorry, I have to set my samples out of the way. I'll show you my samples in a second. Here's these sequins I was talking about. And I can't tell you what color they are. They're just, I think the term is iridescent. Oh, how hot is it where you are, Shanna? Because I mean, it was 27 degrees here, and in Tofino, that's like ridiculously hot. So it's got to be warm where you are. Yeah, so these sequins are kind of iridescent, and what color they are depends on where you hold it in the light. They're really cool. You should have a sheet with 2 different types of labels with the evergreen border, and then a little sheet with just some plain white labels. there should be envelopes in 2 different sizes. So you should have, if you haven't used any yet, there should be 3 of the small envelopes and 6 of the larger envelopes. And let me just grab this whole stack here. There should be 3 sheets like this. So there's a large flower and then the word thanks in 3 different languages. So if you speak German or French or are giving the card to someone who speaks German or French, you have the options there. 32 today, it's already 25. Yikes, that's hot. It's not gonna be that hot here, although it's already, I think it's already like 22 or 23 here, which is weird for Tofino. Okay, so you should have some of those, some of these little green card fronts, some more of this vellum paper with the little leaf pattern on it, some of these fuchsia card bases, should have these sheets with the laser cut or die cut, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, the flower bits. You should have some evergreen card bases and some bumblebee card bases. Okay, so let's see, what do we want to start with? What's number 1 in the instructions? Is the Frisia card. Okay, so for this, we need 1 of these card bases. I'm just going to set everything else aside for the moment. We need 1 of these flowers. So I'm just going to carefully pull that out there. And we need, which label do we need? We need this style of label, the sort of hexagon rectangle combination there. That, and we need some twine. And it says, you're wondering, it tells you right up at the top here, it says 26 inches of twine. Now, when I made my sample, I should show you the sample, that would help. Let's go with the sample. This is the one that I made yesterday. And so when I did the 26 inches of twine, it was kind of awkward to do a bow with that. I just tied a knot. So if you want to tie a bow, you might want to try using a little more than 26 inches. Excuse me, sorry. I'm going to just do the 26 inches again and just do the little knot like that. But that's what we're looking to make. So I'll just set that guy there, the envelope aside. Okay, so we've got our card base, we've got our flower, we've got our sentiment piece, and we'll do the sequins after, and then we need our 26 inches of twine. I have one of these handy dandy Stampin' Up! Pieces that has a ruler on both sides. If you don't have that, there is a ruler on the side of your instructions. So we'll grab 26 inches of twine. 13 plus 13 is 26, right? We'll go with that. There, and my scissors. Okay, oops, sorry, I bumped the camera there. And set that aside. Don't put the twine too far away though, because you'll need it for one of the other cards. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is fold my card base in half, and I've got my bone folder here. Just run this up and down the fold to get it nice and crisp and have the card lay flat. Excuse me. And so in the instructions here, it tells you exactly what you need to do. So step 1, cut the 26 inches of twine, which we've got off to the side here ready. And then it shows you, they say to put 3 little glue dots on the flower and then attach it. The reason they're saying to do it exactly that way is when this is flipped over, this label will cover the glue dots. But I found that the glue dots don't really show. Sometimes glue dots show through the vellum, and that's why they wanted us to place them where the label is going to cover. But I actually have glue dots all around this flower and I can't see them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. But anyways, so what we need to do is tie the twine around the card base and then attach the flower. So let's do that. Make sure the card's opening the right way. You can build your card upside down if you like, but that's entirely up to you. And so I'm going to wrap that around. Didn't quite get it right. Let's see. I'll do it that way. And you just got to kind of mess with it until you get it so that you can tie it back at this other side. I just need to adjust that a little bit more. There. A little bit more. So I'm just kind of pulling the twine through so that I get there. Hang on, I'll get my hands out of the way in 1 second. There we go. So I just got it so that I have enough twine here that I can tie my little knot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And tie that. There we go. Okay, and don't worry if your ends aren't even. You can either leave it uneven or you can trim it once we've got the card done. So there's that. And then we need our flowers. So honestly, I was looking at this and there is a right side and a front side and a back side, but it's kind of hard to see. If you look at it, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this side, the white is kind of shiny and this side, the white is kind of dull. So the dull is the back side. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second, grab my glue dots here. And oh, I'm going to get this other set of glue dots. There we go. And as I say, they had suggested putting just a few glue dots where they'd be covered by the label, but I found that they didn't really show through. So I'm just going to go ahead and put glue dots around the flower so that it's not flapping around on the card. That was my concern. If you put the 3 glue dots just in the one spot, this whole thing is going to be kind of loose. So I'm going to put them all around the flower again. Not tons, just 5 or 6 will be enough. And take the backing off these glue dots. There. And one more. Okay. So now you can just figure out, so how they've got it set is this way. So you've got your kind of like rose-like flower at the top and this, I don't know, it's not a daisy, whatever it is at the bottom, but I mean, whichever way you want to put it, it's your card. So you put it on whichever way you want. Just make sure it doesn't go off the top or the bottom because this needs to fit in the envelope. So you want to make sure that the leaves and bits are all on the card. Okay, so that's done. So that was step 1. Step 2, we're going to get our label and stamp "You Are Amazing." So set that aside, get our label, my block, and my stamp. And I like to just kind of get it straight on my grid paper. That's what I was trying to say earlier, grid paper. And then put the block on, and now it's straight on my block, or at least close to. It's probably not exactly straight. And they use the bumblebee ink for the sentiments, so we're going to do that in the bumblebee. Get lots of ink on my stamp there. And center it on my label. Like that-ish. And just press down nice and firm. And there we go. I'm just going to clean off that stamp. And we'll set that aside. Okay. So that was step 2. Step 3, it shows you put 2 dimensionals on the back of the label and put that on the card. So we shall do that. 1 and 2. And take the backing off those. There, and you, again, it's your card, place it wherever you like. They had it kind of off to the right a little bit, just beside the knot. I mean, you can put it on the other side or right in the center, whatever you like. I actually kind of like it over at this side here, so I'm gonna just press it down right there. There's our label, and then the last step is a sequence, and if you look here, it shows you there's 5, and they have them kind of highlighted on here. So there's 2 there, 2 there, and 1 down there. Again, place them wherever you like. And I'm going to just follow what they said for this one. So I'll put 2 in that upper right corner and 2 kind of in the upper left corner-ish. All right, having an argument with the sequence. 1 second. There we go. And then 1 kind of down in the bottom right here somewhere. There. Now, according to the instructions, that's finished, but I like to put a little something on the inside. So on this one, I just stamped the flower inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. If you don't like having anything on the inside of your card, that's fine. You don't have to do that. But I like just having something pretty on the inside, but not too big because you want to leave room to say something. And I'm going to stamp this in the Evening Evergreen. So just ink up my stamp here. Get that all nice and green. And put that down in this bottom corner. And there. Okay. Oh, apparently I had green on my finger and now it's on my card. Oh well. A little smudgy there. I'll just write over that. That'll be all right. And there is our first card finished. Put that in the envelope I had for it. And I'm going to grab an envelope for the one we just made and just fold that over at the score line there. And I just run my thumb and fingers along it. And then I just set that inside, and now that's ready to go when you want to send it. Okay, card number 1 done. Card number 2 is the Evening Evergreen card. And so if we look at the back here, it tells us that we need, let me grab all my supplies. Let me scroll through it. We're going to need one of those. And so we need one of these. This is based on the polished stone technique, which involves alcohol and some drops of reinker. And then, so somebody did that and then they basically took a photo of it and printed it. So it looks really cool. Anyway, so we need one of those. And we need, if I can get to it, one of these green card bases. And so we need that, and we need that. And we need one of these little white labels. Oh, and I put the stuff away too soon. And back on this sheet where we took our flower from, we need the thanks. So we'll just carefully take that out of there. Okay, and a little bit more. I'm just being really careful because I don't want to tear it. There. And if you know someone that speaks French or German, you can pass that on. I don't, so I'm going to set that aside. Okay. And then we're going to need both colors of ink on the instructions here. So we've got our green card base, our green polished stone, our thanks, our label. Going to need a couple stamps, our glue dots, our dimensionals, and our ink. Okay, so again, I'm going to start just by folding the card base in half and running my bone folder along it to get that. There we go. So card number 2, step 1 is to stamp on this green polished stone piece. We're going to stamp 3 of this large flower stamp, and then we're going to stamp some of the little flowers in the Evening Evergreen ink. So we'll just slide those to plate. Oh, I didn't show you my finished one again. I keep forgetting, don't I? There we go. This is what it looks like when it's all done. I'll set that guy up there for reference. So we're going to start with this large flower stamp and our Evening Evergreen ink. And we'll ink that up. And they stamped it 3 times, so kind of down in this corner like that-ish. I say ish a lot because this is not an exact science. This is creative endeavor, so it doesn't have to be exactly how someone else's is. Down in that corner, and then one more kind of up top there. And get the ink on there. Okay, and we'll put that one about there. And while I have this stamp, am I going to do? No, I'm going to do a different one on the inside. Never mind. Ignore that last comment. I'm going to clean off my stamp. And then I'm going to swap and get the little flower. So in your stamp set here, it's this little flower. Get that guy out. And then just fill that in wherever you like around the big flowers. I just put a whole bunch on here. Doesn't really matter where they are. And you can stamp off the edge if you like to have a partial flower. I think that's good. Okay, clean that one. And I'm going to put, oh, actually, this is the one I'm going to put inside. So I put 3 little flowers inside my card. So I'm going to do that actually before I put this away. And I apologize for the background noise. I'm just going to walk away and shut my window. Sorry about that. My neighbor is doing weed eating or something. Okay, so I'm just going to put a couple more little flowers on the inside here, like that. At least that's what I did. You do whatever. Okay, put the ink away and put my little flower stamp away. All right, so back to the instructions. So that was step 1, was to stamp that. Step 2 is to use 4 glue dots to attach this polished stone panel to the card base. So we will get our glue dots, wherever they are, there they are. And so they just did 1 in each corner. I'm going to do 1 in the middle as well, just because I want to make sure that it stays firmly in place. There. Okay. Take the backing off those guys. And 1 more. Sometimes the backings don't want to come off. They kind of fight me. There we go. That didn't quite fold flat. I'm just going to run my bone folder over that 1 more time. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, got my glue dots, and I'm just going to center this polished stone panel on the card base. Like that. Press that down. Okay, step 2 done. Our instructions back. Step 3 is to attach this thanks. And again, they just put 3 little glue dots at the bottom so that they're kind of hidden, but I, again, couldn't see the glue dots. So I'm gonna put a few more on than that. We'll get our thanks. This one's easy to tell the right way around because the right way around is so you can read it. So flip that over. And we'll put our glue dots on here. And I didn't use too many. I just kind of did 1 at the top of the H and 1 at the top of the K, and then a couple along the bottom of the word. And that'll be enough to make sure it stays. Oh, except that glue dot stuck to my finger instead of to the vellum. 1 second. One of these days, I'll actually use my Pick-a tool properly. In the meantime, I'm using my fingernails. There we go. Okay. Take the backing off these glue dots on our thanks piece of vellum. And again, having an argument. There we go. Eventually I win, but you know, sometimes it's a bit of a, can't quite tell who's going to win. Okay. And again, they didn't center this. They have it kind of to the right and down, but you can put it wherever you like. So it can go right in the middle. You see on my sample here, it's kind of over and down slightly from center. You can put it right in the middle if you like. I think I will actually on this one. Let's kind of get that there. Okay, so that was step 3. Step 4 is to stamp the for everything. And then step 5 is to attach that with dimensionals. So let's do that. Get our block back and our for everything stamp here. And again, I'm just going to set this on my grid paper and get it straight. And my block, there we go. And my bumblebee ink, and get that all inked up. And this one just fits on the label, so you want to make sure you get it centered as well as you can. There we go. It was a little high. I'm going to flip it over and do it again. Fortunately for these labels, when it's just plain white, you can use the other side. Okay, let's try this one more time. Maybe if I get that on the grid paper there. And there. That's better. Okay, I'm happy with that. And so I have to admit I cheated a little bit. I have some mini dimensionals that I'm going to use for this. They just sent the full-size dimensionals in the kit. So if you just have these full-size dimensionals, what you can do is just cut one in half and then put half at each end, and that way it doesn't hang over the edge of your little sentiment panel. And for some reason, these dimensionals don't want the backing to come off. This could be a minute. Okay, got that one. And got that one. There we go. Okay. And now the for everything is just kind of going down near the bottom of your thanks. Kind of there, wherever you like, actually. Okay, so that was steps 4 and 5. And then step 6 is just to put on 5 little sequins. So we will get our sequins again. And grab those. And again, they kind of did 2 in the upper right, 2 in the upper left, and then 1 down the bottom. So I'm just going to do something similar. There. And 1 kind of down there-ish. And there's card number 2 done. So that was our original one. And get an envelope for this one we just made now. And there we go. Card number 2 is finished. And I'm just going to put this for everything stamp away. We don't need it for the next card. There. All right. So time for card number 3. And for that, there's our instructions telling us what we need. We will need one of these rectangular labels with the evergreen border. And we will need one of these vellum panels with the leaves on it. And we will need one of these pieces with the 3 colors of flower bits on it. And we need one of our bumblebee card bases. Okay, so I'm going to take a second to just punch these out now. Just be careful with these because they're a little bit delicate. So we want to make sure that we pull them out of the card base they're in kind of carefully so we don't tear them. A lot of fine stems and leaves on these, but trust me, it's going to be really pretty when it's on the card. There we go. There's that one. And pink one there. I find it's easy. I just start at the center because the center is kind of thicker and a little easier to punch out. And then from there, I can get the rest of the leaves out. You guys went quiet. You are still out there, right? Okay, take that one out. And there's the pink one and the purple one. Get those little bits off that end. And this next one. And the last piece here. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside. Okay. Oh, and I will show you, this is what we're going to end up with. Okay. So I'm going to fold my card base in half, find my bone folder underneath everything, still here on the road and listening. Yay! Glad you're out there. Okay, just run my bone folder along there. Okay, let's go to the instructions for card number 3. So step 1 is to attach the vellum panel to the card front with glue dots. And again, if you kind of look, there's one side that's shiny and one side that's dull. I don't know if you can, so you can see that's kind of shiny. And that one isn't so much. Like the individual leaves are kind of shiny here and the whole thing is just uniformly kind of dull. That's the back side. Okay, so we'll get our glue dots and put the glue dots on this panel, and I'm just going to put one on each corner and one in the center. Now, maybe if I can pick them up there, and last corner and in the middle. Okay, and take the backing off those. Get those off there. But at least we know they're sticky. There, and one more. Okay. So then this, you just decide which way you want it to go on your card. I'm going to put it so the leaves are kind of all going up. And that just gets centered on this card base. And it's not quite centered. There we go. I think that's got it. Okay. There. And then step 2 is to attach all these flower pieces. And so these are just all layered, just one at a time. Excuse me, sorry. So on my original one here, I did the purple and then the green and then the pink, but whatever order you want to do them, that's fine. I'm going to do that same thing again. Now in the instructions, they say just put one glue dot in the center, but these little leaf bits are big enough that you can actually put glue dots on the little leaf bits and have them not show. So I'm going to do that. Just put a couple on there. You don't need a ton. It doesn't, the whole thing doesn't have to be stuck down as long as you have some glue dots on each section. That'll be good enough. So I'm just putting a couple on each section. And put one more there. And we'll take the backing off those. Out of the way. Okay, and a couple more backings. I know I'm off camera, but all I'm doing is taking the backing off the glue dots on this. Okay, get our card back. And so this is just however you, whatever orientation you like. If you want to copy what they did on the front here, they had the 2 purple ones kind of going towards the top left corner and top right corner, and then one pointed down, but you don't have to do that. You can do it however you like. I'm going to kind of go like that, I think. There. Okay, press that one down. And then I'm going to do the green one next. And get my glue dots back. And again, just a few glue dots. This one, the center is big enough that you can put a glue dot on the center and it won't show. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just putting a glue dot up on this section, a glue dot over here, glue dot in the center. And these are actually just big enough, these little leaves, that you can get, if you're careful, a glue dot on one of these little leaves on that section. And take the backing off those. It's more fun if you sing while you're waiting. Oh, I just noticed a little piece in there. Hang on. So I just noticed there's a little, probably can't see it, but there's a little piece in here that's actually supposed to come out. So I'm just going to grab that. There we go. All right. And so I'm going to place this one. I don't want it right over top directly, so I'm going to kind of turn it slightly so that it is partially over the purple, but still leaves some of the purple visible. I don't want to place this. I'm just going to mess with this for a minute to decide exactly how I want this to go on here. I think I might do it like, no, that's going to stick off. So you got to be careful it doesn't stick off the edge of the card, because I just about did that. And I can't decide. I know, I'm just going to have to pick and place it down. Okay, let's do that. There we go. It's enough messing with that. All right. And one more little bit needs to come off the pink. There we go. And last piece, we'll get our glue dots for that. One kind of near the top of that end. Oh, stuck to my thumb. I should know by now not to use my thumb because it never works. there, and one in the center. Get my other little pack of glue dots here. Don't worry, I didn't use more than they sent. I just was using up some of the glue dots I had. Go one at that end. And we'll take the backing off those guys. One more, there we go. And now again, we can just kind of see how we want to orient this. Kind of, that's gonna go right over that purple. That's gonna go off the edge of the card, maybe. There, let's do that. Let's do that. There we go. Now we can see all the colors. Okay. I know, it was a really difficult decision how to place the flowers. If that's the most difficult decision I have to make today, then it's gonna be a good day. Okay. So that was step 2. Step 3 is to cut 12 inches of the green twine and tie a bow and put that on our card. So we'll do that. Once I figure out where I left my scissors, there they are. 12 inches. Cut that. And so if you haven't seen this before, I just kind of, I loop that around my finger and grab that. And then I kind of do the same at the other end. So I've kind of got like 2 bunny ears. And then I just go one bunny ear over the other and put it through the center loop. It can get confusing as to which piece is which. Oh, yeah, didn't quite get that right. That's okay. We'll start again. One loop, other loop. Oh, hang on. Having technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, this time. We'll get it this time. There. And then put that through the center. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull on that and then just kind of keep tightening my bow and pulling on the ends as well until we get it to actually tie properly. And then I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of twisted around a bit there. I'm just gonna untwist that. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So then you can kind of pull on the tails of your bow and kind of get these to be the size you like. I'm just going to set it down on my grid paper here and get it so they're kind of even. Now don't worry about the tails being even. I'm just working on getting the loops even because we can cut off the tail that's extra long. So there we go. Okay. And then this attaches just to the middle with a glue dot. So we'll get one of our glue dots and put that in the center there. Take the backing off. And again, I'm just going to untwist that loop and then just press it down on that glue dot. Yep, that loop does not want to stay untwisted. There. Okay, and I'm going to leave the tail there just for the moment until I get the label on, and then I can trim everything and make it just right. Okay, so the next step is to stamp congratulations, and then that attaches with dimensionals. So there is our label, and we will get our stamp that says congratulations. And I'm going to put that on my grid paper so I can get it straight. And use the Bumblebee ink for that. There, get that all nice and even. And put that in the center. Oh, I noticed my congratulations isn't quite straight. There we go. Put that in the center of the label there. Didn't quite get that one centered, but I'm going to go with it. Okay, and then we need a couple of dimensionals on the back of this. 1 and 2, and take the backing off of those. Okay, and so now this, let me just pull up my pre-made. So this kind of goes over, I've got the loops of the bow up here, the tails of the bow down there, and the label kind of across the middle. So that's what we're aiming for. So I'm just gonna kind of hold the loops up there. And and place that across the middle so it's centered. And then you can just kind of bring your bow back down. And I'm going to get my scissors and just trim this tail of the bow to be approximately the same as the other one. Okay, and then last step, step number 5, we've attached the sentiment, and then there's 5 sequins again. Where'd I put them? I lost the sequins. There they are. And so this one, they have kind of top right, there's 2, bottom left, there's 2, and bottom right, there's 1. But again, just put them wherever you feel like putting them. So I'm going to do, I have a bit more space at the bottom, so I'm going to do 2 down the bottom there. I'm going to do 1 up that top corner because there's a bit more space up there, just the way I had the flower bits. And there's our, oh, not quite, our almost finished card. I want to put a little flower on the inside. So I'm going to put my congratulations stamp away. And I'm going to get this large flower one again. And I'm going to stamp that in evergreen ink on the inside. Again, that's not part of the instructions, it's totally optional. You don't have to put any images inside your card. I just like to. So I'm going to put that guy down. I'll turn it a little bit. Do it that way. There. Clean that off. Managed to do it without getting ink on my finger this time. Yay. All right, there is our finished final card. I'll grab an envelope for that. All right, so there's 1 and 2, off camera, there we go, and 3. And that's our, let me move that over so you can see them properly. There we go. That's our 3 cards that we made today. And in case you missed it at the beginning, this does coordinate with the expressions in ink suite that's in the catalog on pages 96 and 97. So if you want to do, you really like this style of the background, the paper and everything, you can get a lot more of that in this expressions in ink suite. Let me see if I can find the papers for you and show you, because the papers are amazing. They are on page 131. I just want to pull this up and show you if I can. So if you can see here, this is the expressions in ink papers, and you can kind of see there's that polished stone technique and then a bunch of different flowers and then just a couple other designs, and there's gold right in the design of these papers. They're absolutely beautiful. They're still on my to be bought list. I haven't got them yet, but I will be. And so that is our cards for the June 2021 Expressions in Color Paper Pumpkin Kit. Thanks. Yes, you do need to make your kit, Shanna, you know, in your spare time when you're not doing 100 other things that you do. So thanks for joining me this morning. I will be back live again next Saturday. And now that I'm home, there will be some regular posts throughout the week again. So you don't have to go a whole week without hearing from me. I know you were very sad I was gone. Anyway, I will be posting throughout the week and I will be live next Saturday. I'll post during the week what we'll be making next week. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Hopefully you can stay cool, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.